Welcome to Daz Wargaming, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Brush. And on today's episode, we have a super special guest. We have Ben from First Rank for our podcast. How's it going, Ben?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks.
You're doing all right.
Not quite super, but yeah,
super special guest.
Oh, thank you.
And as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host. It's Mr. Dante Pates.
I was wondering who you were talking about there for a minute when you mentioned wonderful co-host.
Okay, right, okay. Just take it, yeah. I'm being nice. I'm being nice. So welcome everyone, and welcome to you guys, everyone watching, all that jazz. For those in YouTube land, we are recording this while live on Twitch, so if you want to be involved in the recording of these and the hangout and hobbies that happen before and after, then head on over to Twitch, give us a follow so you get notified when we go live, and come and hang out with us. That's the bit for the beginning. Are you ready, Ben? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah.
I know you're so used to it being the other way around, but here we go.
It is weird. Yeah, it's very weird being this way around. Yeah. This is only the second time I've done it. Still feels strange.
Pro. So I guess the first thing that I'd like to ask, everybody, is when and how did you get into the hobby?
This is a long and fractured story, that's for sure.
Okay.
So I first got into the hobby back when I was sort of 12, 13, something like that. So this was, I think I worked out it was a 6th edition fantasy. So this was the box set with the orcs and the Empire. So I had like the cannons for the Empire, and I had all the orcs with like the orc boys. That was what got me into it. I was really big into fantasy about it. It's weird because whenever I talk to anybody in this band, so many people talk about Lord of the Rings. I absolutely loved Lord of the Rings. Didn't bother about it as a game. It just kind of flew straight past me.
Oh, right.
But yeah, fantasy got me into it big time. Orcs. I was an orc boy through and through.
Wow.
So I played that for maybe only like 2 years or something, like really, really short amount of time. And then that typical thing of going to the sort of the higher levels in secondary school and then going off to university, I just didn't play, just dropped it completely. Kept my orcs, I think, up until sort of like halfway through uni, and then my parents did the typical thing of selling them. And then, really, really annoyed now that Old World's back, gutted, because I had quite a lot of orcs then. So I had like 6 or 7 units of boys and the Arrow boys, and the orcs on boys, orcs on boys, boars on boys on boars. Oh my boys on boars.
We know what you meant. We know what you meant.
Yeah, I love those models.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took a massive break, and it was only, I think it was 7 years ago. Whenever 8th started, I got into 40k in 8th. Never touched 40k before. Really? Never done any of the rule set. Nothing like that at all. Obviously saw it when I was in the shop and stuff like that. But it was at work, and I overheard somebody talking about like, 8th edition is coming out, and I was like, wait, Warhammer? He was like, yeah. I was like, I'm in. Like, I'll do this. Tried to persuade them to play Age of Sigmar, because then obviously Fantasy had gone, Sigmar was back, but they were having none of it. So yeah, fell into 40k, and I've been kind of almost non-stop since 8th really. And yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm really happy that Old World's coming back. Really love Sigmar, but I've just been 40k through and through basically since I got back into it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's really cool.
So yeah, quite a broken story. It wasn't very much at first, but it was enough to hook me in to know that when I heard it, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely falling back into this. Yeah. The wife's not happy about it. She thought I'd kept it secret. She thought I was keeping it secret until we got married, because I didn't start playing it until we were married. So yeah, she's not very happy with me.
Oh, fair, man.
Wait, when you started off saying about I got in when I was sort of like 11 or 12, I thought, oh, this sounds familiar. And then you went, that was around 6th edition for fantasy. And I was like, oh, maybe not. Like, roughly the same age. I was 11 or 12 because it's like I'd done my 11 plus and everything. But I started with Rogue Trader, basically.
Okay, nice.
First edition. And then I got back into it in 2020, funnily enough. Yeah. So yeah, there was a big long break of almost 20 years for me.
Yeah, I think it worked out. It was like, I think it was about 15-year break, something like that for me. So it was still quite a while. But
yeah. So moving, and you might have hinted at this a little bit earlier. what has been your favourite thing to paint so far, and what would you love to paint in the future, and why is it the new lion?
Oh, I mean, yeah, this is going to be an easy one. So obviously I've been working on my ballistas. That's definitely been the thing that I've enjoyed painting. Weirdly enough, before I started the podcast, I didn't really enjoy painting. I was one of those people that literally did my bare minimum to get something on the table to go and play. Absolutely couldn't do it. And then I started actually talking to painters, and their enthusiasm properly rubs off on you. It's insane. So yeah, started to pick up painting when I started the podcast properly. And then Stibio, big shout out to Stibio. So he's running a Dreadnought competition at time of recording. I think there's 7 days left on it, something like that. I was like, you know what? I've been picking up some new sort of things, and I was like, I'm going to go for it. So it was a Dreadnought painting competition. I have got a Redemptor that's not painted, and then I had the Ballistas. And I was like, I really want to paint the Ballistas, so I want it in my army list. So yeah, I picked it up, and I've loved it. I've loved every second of painting that thing. It's taken me like a month and a half, but it's been amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nearly there. Just needs a varnish, and then it's going to be done. And yeah, in terms of models going forward, I've still not painted the Lion. The Dreadnought was like the palette cleanser to really test out a few things before I painted the Lion. He's sat in my cupboard, not even built yet, which people are very angry at me for, to be such a Dark Angels fanboy and to still not have even built the Lion. But yeah, I can't wait to get started on him now. I love it. Love that model so much.
Great models. Good choices. But yeah, you touched there about your podcast and things like that. But just for anyone listening that doesn't know, what is First Rank Fire Podcast, and when did you start it, and how did it come about?
So it started, I think the first episode went out in December 22. So it's been just over a year now. So a year and 2 months, a year and a month, something like that. So First Rank Fire Podcast is basically, it's an interview podcast. It's slightly longer form. So the episodes sort of normally run between like an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the person. And the whole premise of it is to really try and, again, same as this, to understand the people behind the paintbrushes, to go on Instagram. Because obviously you a lot of the time, it's not a front, but you see people's artwork, you see what they've painted, and you don't necessarily get to know them all that much through their Instagram some of the time. So for me, it was a way to sort of try and bring that out of them.
Yeah.
So it originally came about. So I was playing Warhammer before COVID, obviously the big thing. COVID hit, and so me and all of my gaming groups, so there's like 10 of us, something like that. We were all key workers, but rather than going into work, we all now had to work from home. And so we went from seeing each other in work every day to now never seeing each other, being at work all day, but barely really talking about Warhammer. And so there was probably like a year and a half, 2 years where I was like barely painting. Obviously I wasn't playing because we were in lockdown, and just I felt like I really, really missed the hobby, and I missed talking to people. That was the key thing. I didn't, as much as I enjoyed playing, I didn't necessarily miss the playing aspect of it too much. I missed talking to people about it, that passionate conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, started the podcast. I sort of decided, you know what, I kind of knew for a little while that I wanted to do a podcast of some sort, whether or not it was going to be like a more of a, this is what we're doing at the minute. But I kind of wanted to talk to a lot of different people. It wasn't necessarily wanting to chat with the same people every week. So yeah, that was kind of where it came about. And it's been, I think, episode 30, is it 31 or 32? I think it's 32, should be coming out later on this week, something like that, as we're recording.
Cool.
Yes, it goes out every 2 weeks. First thing on a Thursday morning, so it's like 5 a.m. UK time, it goes out, something like that. But yeah, every 2 weeks since I started it, it's been so much fun, so much fun.
Yeah, no, it's a cool listen, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm a little behind with it, but I'm slowly.
This
getting there.
30 odd episodes
I'm
is
slowly
like
getting there.
2 hours.
Yeah, I can't do each one like one sitting. Like each one's probably about 3 sittings, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I'm getting there.
Yeah, there's like 50, I never thought I'd say it, there's like 50, 60 hours of me talking on the internet, and that's horrendous for everybody involved.
But you can add this to that now.
I mean, that's people have extensive amounts of time talking on the internet.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah, that's very true.
And about some really strange subjects, but we won't. I mean, you could say about people and strange subjects, niche subjects, with our next question. is there any advice you would give to anyone wanting to get started doing their own podcast?
So I think the key thing for me is just go out and do it. It took me like a solid month, something like that, where I was umming and ahhing, do I want to do it, do I not? Just do it. Just get a bit of kit. So the thing that I bought really was this microphone.
Yeah.
That was the only sort of true bit of kit. There's plenty of software out there. You can use Skype or stuff like that. So I use a program called Zencaster. It used to be free, it's not anymore. So, but there's loads of like recording software, stuff like that that's free. And yeah, just do it. Just find something, find a mate to chat to. And if you want to do something like I do, I mean, I'm not, don't take my audience, please, because you'll probably do it better than me. But reach out to people. That was the amazing thing. Like, having Quipster on as my first episode was like mind-blowing for me, because I just reached out to a few different people and said, look, would you be up for coming on it? And Quipster at the time, I mean, I think it was on like 11,000 followers, something like that. It like instantly, like within an hour, was like, yeah, let's do this. Gave me loads of advice on how to do it, especially he's got the Conclave podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just take that jump, take that leap of faith. Worst case, you find out that you don't like it and you just stop. Like,
yeah.
So what?
Yeah. Great advice there.
Everyone gives it me, so I've just been cherry picking. It's one of the questions that I ask every single time. I'm like, how can I do my job better? Yeah. And so I just like cherry pick from them.
Yeah. Just cutting back to your personal hobby, for a second. And it might go without saying now, really. But how many armies do you own, and which one's your favourite?
So how many I own is a more difficult question. Okay. So I have, so in terms of 40k, I've got obviously my Dark Angels, I've got a Chaos Knight army, which is mostly unpainted, but I have enough to play games. And then I've got Votan. Never played Votan. They're just kind of built, primed. They were going to be, I bought them at the back end of 9th, and they were going to be like my show army. So the thing that I really sort of put all of my effort into, and I primed them, and they've never come out again because the Dark Angels took my life over again. Yeah. So yeah, those are sort of the 3 armies I've got for 40k. I've also got Magnus and Mortarion and a Keeper of Secrets and Gulliman and various other models, because I just love them. I love getting them, building them, and sort of painting them up. Sigmar I've not played, not really painted much, but I do have some. So I picked up the Mortal Realms magazine. So I've got some of those armies. Yeah, if more people played, that would probably be the way that I went. I really love Age of Sigmar models. I think they're incredible. Yeah. But yeah, and the obvious one is obviously Dark Angels are my favourite. Yeah, sorry, Chaos Knights, as much as...
Yeah. A silly question after you spoke about Dark Angels initially.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's cool.
So what is quite possibly your favourite thing about the hobby overall?
It's definitely the people. I know. I mean, it's a weird one. I love a lot of stuff about the hobby. The really amazing thing about the hobby is the fact that there are so many different facets to it. You want to paint, you want to play, you want to read. There's so much lore behind it. You want to chat with people. Even like list building. People probably get into list building, which it feels like a Gulliman thing to me to do list building. But if people enjoy it, fine. But yeah, for me, it's definitely people, like chatting people, like doing stuff like this. It's just. It's so much fun. It's so cool to just sit and be passionate about something. And I don't know whether or not it stems from something as like a kid, where it feels like a lot when I was a kid and maybe before that, a lot of this stuff was seen as like geeky or nerdy and it wasn't cool. And you were almost like a little bit ashamed to sort of admit that you really enjoyed it. You're passionate about it. Whereas, you get in this community, you see like the people that are on Instagram, everyone's so friendly and incredible. Like, it's amazing. I love everybody in the community, and it's a lot of fun.
I mean, it's what we've said before, is like because especially on the last episode, it was the same answer given. I think Matt said like it feels like a bit of a cop out answer, or not a very like, but I was like, but actually that question's in there. Like, I would love it if everyone we have on says the same answer for that question.
Yeah,
because I'm expecting the same answer, to be honest, and I hope I do, because it just shows like how much it's grown, this hobby, and how amazing the community. If everyone's favorite thing is the community, like that's amazing. That's what I want to hear. So it's kind of like, it is a question that I'm kind of trying to get out of people the obvious answer, because It's, so
Fair.
so I'm super happy that the same answers come from yourself.
Yes.
You didn't watch the last one, did you? And go,
I have watched the last one, but
Yeah.
it is my genuine. Matt's just an upgraded version of me. Let's just get that out there now. Matt is me but better. I've had loads of chats with Matt and stuff like that, and we've really aligned on a lot of what we see. And to be honest, it's the exact same. Again, it's another question that I sort of ask him in my podcast. It's the same answer that so many people give in the community. Obviously, there's some people, like I chatted with Pete the Wargamer. He's like, oh yeah, building, obviously. But he then went on a 10-minute conversation about, and here's why the community makes it so good. And you're like, yeah,
true. That is true. And a great answer.
thanks.
But this one's the next one's more of it's an odd one, but it's one that I personally asked just because I think that some people can shock you with the answers because you don't expect it. But paints, what is your favourite colour and brand of paint? And they don't have to be the same thing.
Okay. So can I break it up a little bit?
You can break it up. Yeah, go for
Yes.
Okay. So definitely, I love Caliban Green. It's the paint that I use because it's Dark Angels, obviously. Yeah, it has to be. But to be honest, I never really use Caliban Green on its own. I always tend to darken it down. I've got quite a dark colour, or have developed a much darker colour scheme, so I tend to sort of mix it in a little bit. I can't really choose between the Vallejo version or the Citadel version. I do like both. In terms of metallics, there's one that is my go-to, which is Vallejo Gunmetal. It's a really sort of dark metallic colour. It goes through the airbrush. Absolutely, you get the airbrush version, goes through the airbrush absolutely beautifully. It's what I used on all of my Chaos Knights. It's got like a slight sparkle to it, but you can sort of then go over with stuff like lead belcher or choose your silver of choice. But yeah, absolutely love that. It's what I did all the metallics on my Dreadaz. That was all. That was all based. All the base for that was the Vallejo Gunmetal. Love that paint. Although
is that the airbrush specific gunmetal?
So I have used it so I use it through the airbrush typically, but I have used the airbrush paint with my brush, and it works really nice. It flows really nicely.
Yeah, I've got quite a few of the Vallejo metal color airbrush specifics, and I have done exactly the same. Is just put it out on a small palette and brush it on, and they just go on so nicely both ways.
It's the silver. Yeah. It's the silver I use too.
Nice. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. That's my go-to.
I will say I did win the wave 2 of the Two Thin Coats from Chloe, Lady Kane. Yeah. She did her Christmas charity thing, so I won the set, and I haven't opened it yet, but I'm quite looking forward to using those. I've heard really nice things about Two Thin Coats.
They're very good. I don't use a lot of anything else now.
Okay, that's good to know.
So there's a few that I can't. I don't want this to turn into a review of Two Thin Coats.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're blooming good. Let's just say that.
Good to know.
We can talk more in the hobby hangout section about that. But yes, there you go. Good choices, by the way.
Thanks.
So, any advice to people new to and looking to get into the hobby?
Good question. So I think something that I maybe got a little bit caught up on relatively early was trying to follow the meta a little bit, and I didn't enjoy that at all. I found myself sort of jumping between different models and different armies and stuff like that. And had I not just done what I should have done at the first, which was go by rule of cool, then I think I would have saved myself a lot of money and time. Like Space Marines were the first sort of things. Obviously, coming in new into 40k, everyone goes to Space Marines. But actually, I've sort of found a real liking for Space Marines. I think they're really, really cool models, especially the new ones, like 8th edition Primaris. I know that people really hated them at first. I absolutely love the Primaris models. I think they're incredible. The new Terminators coming out, I'm absolutely in love with them. As much as I like Deathwing Terminators, with the exception of the Lion, were my favourite models in the game. Honestly, the new ones are incredible, and I think they may take that place. So yeah, I think it's understand what you want to play with or what you want to paint. Don't really care about necessarily the state of the game. Meta chasing is fine. I have no problem with meta chasing. Just understand that it comes with certain connotations, I would say. But yeah, do what you enjoy, because you're going to spend hours doing it, and if you don't enjoy the models, then you're kind of going to hate it by the end.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah, thanks.
Not heard that one before.
Good. Yeah, it's
the
old one that I've heard.
Generally the one that I give to people when they're saying about, oh, how should I start out in Horus Heresy? And I literally just turn around and say, well, find a legion you like, because you're going to be painting a lot of that colour, and then find the models within that you like and paint those, because as you enjoy it, you'll end up painting more of it. And yours is pretty much the same answer. And I'm one of these, I'm a little bit on the fence about Primaris, but I do like how much cleaner they are. The Firstborn started to get a little bit too fussy with detail, I feel.
I think that maybe they have gone a little bit too far in the other way in some places. When you look at Ultramarines, some of the aesthetics around Ultramarines are amazing. From some of the older models, that Roman look, I think, is absolutely incredible. I feel like hopefully, when you look at the stuff that they're doing with the Dark Angels, they're maybe trying to bring that a little bit more into it, and I hope they bring it into all the legions. Stuff like Ultramarines, I think, would look amazing if you try and like Romanesque some of the Primaris. You've seen people do it on do kit bashes. They look incredible, and I think we need more of that.
Yeah.
So, on to the next question, I suppose. And I guess I don't know how to word this one. But basically, apart from Dasma Wargaming, do you have any hobby heroes or someone that particularly inspires you?
I have so many people; it's unbelievable. Honestly, before the podcast, I was a proper lurker. I never even used to like posts, never used to comment, nothing like that. Didn't get involved in the community whatsoever. I started the podcast, and yeah, it's been really fun getting to chat with people. Dave, Winnie Wargamer Dave, he's the obvious answer for anybody. How that man does the hobby is inspirational for everybody, and the fact that he's now brought out doing all the Fit for 40k stuff, it's he really pushes and plays the game. He's really happy, he's really positive, and he's pushing for fitness. What an incredible human being that man is. So he's my obvious answer, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's just various other ones, 41st Millennium. Dave, if you ever get to chat with him, he's an incredible person to chat with. He gives me so much motivation and sort of really keeps me going with a lot of my painting. I chat with him pretty much every day. Absolutely amazing guy. He's definitely up there. I could keep going on. I guess I will say one more. Kerry K-Legs. Mm-hmm. Since chatting with Kerry, she has changed my outlook on this hobby. Absolutely changed it. Turned it around massively. She was interviewed. I can't remember what number interview she was. But the way that she approached the hobby was absolutely amazing. I talk about it on so many of the podcasts. People must get bored of it. But her sort of target setting and the way that she approached different targets and challenges, for me, was amazing. Because I was like, actually, that's good for me. I always work really well with a deadline. And I just wasn't setting myself deadlines at all. I was kind of just floating through, and I sort of had a really, really good chat with Kerry. And since then, it's cool, actually, that's really good. So obviously she went and did Golden Demon, and I was like, I'm going to do it. Chatting with her about that and the pleasure she got from doing her Golden Demon really sort of pushed me, and was probably the thing that has sort of made me enjoy painting a little bit more, is her view on it. So yeah, big shout out to Kerry as well.
Yeah, I know. Some legends there you've mentioned. All worthy of the shout out as well. Yeah,
there's some incredible people. I did a post on it quite a while ago. I think just before Christmas, something like that. I did a series of stories with I think there was 10 people, something like that, and I just sort of shouted out to them, and they were just I mean, your hobby heroes thing is just an incredible thing to do with it. There's just I don't know how to say it. Amazing people in the community, and love all of them.
Just nice to do it now and again, just to shout people out and just
let
you appreciate. This I think gets to a point as well, like you say, there's just the list can be endless, and
Yeah.
you don't want anyone to feel like you've left them up, but you will leave people out because it's just it's absolutely impossible. So yeah, it's just trying to get that across, I guess, and I just try and do one of these like weekly things, and hopefully eventually I'll cover everybody.
You got everybody.
Eventually,
just gonna add more people to do
eventually
more.
I'll get there. Well, yeah, and it's not random either. I plan like 6 months ahead, like so my calendar.
Add another person to the list.
Yeah, so my so good to do. It's good to do.
Yeah, I think people deserve it. Like the amount of effort that they put in, which I mean, most of these people don't do it for anything. Yeah, they get the odd thing every now and again, but in reality, a lot of these people don't do it as their job. They do it as a hobby, and the amount of time and inspiration that they give people is just incredible. Like, so they deserve all of the shout-outs, all of the plaudits, all of the free models that they can get their hands on. They deserve it all because they put the hard work in, and it pushes me to be better at the hobby. So.
Exactly. Well said, man. Well said.
I mean, there's so much hate for that, so much flack for the give them free models, but I'll take
it. Slightly longer question to close out with, and feel free to break this one up in any way you wish. What are your aspirations for the future? What can people expect to see from you, and what can people expect to see from you from the podcast moving forwards?
Yeah, that is a longer question. So it's. I mean, I'm going through a mad time at the minute. So it's been a year since I started my new job. So I'm an engineer. I made quite a big career change about a year ago. I was an engineer then, but I went from sort of more engineering management to a lot more practical engineering. So it was a big risk for me because it went from being in a position where I was quite comfortable, I was generally managing people, to actually like testing my brain, which felt strange. Felt really strange. I didn't really feel. I had that sort of imposter syndrome. Am I really good enough to do this sort of job? So that's been taking up a lot of the year. The other fun one is my partner is due to give birth at the end of March. So things are about to go absolutely crazy again. So this is going to be my second. So I've got my first little one. She's going to turn 3 soon, and she is chaos, absolute chaos. So we decided to have a second and make it even more chaotic.
Of course, why not?
So mentally, I don't know why. So that's in terms of sort of personal stuff, that's the sort of really big changes that are going to make quite a massive impact really on my life, sort of really bedding into that job, and then having another little one to deal with. Obviously that's impacted quite a lot on my time, so I've probably been posting a lot less than I used to on Instagram and stuff like that. Obviously kept the podcast going, but I had to post a little bit less. So definitely sort of new year, new hobby type stuff. I've sort of when the new one has sort of settled down a little bit, and hopefully sooner. So my first baby was a proper Velcro baby. She wouldn't go or do anything if she wasn't on us. So for about 4 or 5 months when she was born, I didn't do any painting. There was absolutely none, which was absolute chaos. It was horrendous. I really missed it. So hopefully with the second one, there'll be a little bit less of a Velcro baby, but I'm going to try and push my painting a lot more and try and push how much I can post onto Instagram and stuff like that.
Right.
So not necessarily just being about the podcast, because I think if you look through my Instagram now, probably about half of it is, maybe a little bit more, is just a podcast. Whereas I want to turn it into a more of a generic painting sort of hobby type stuff. So more of an all-round Instagram stuff.
Yeah.
So that's going to take obviously a lot of time. I'm quite a slow painter, so I think one of the key things that I want to do is really push on the speed that I paint. So I've been trying out some new techniques and things like that, which seems to be going quite well.
Yeah.
In terms of the podcast, that's a much harder question. There's so many things that so many ideas that buzz through my head that I could do with that. Obviously, with the new baby coming, this is probably a bit of a scoop for you because I've not actually said it anywhere else, but there's likely to be a break. So whereas I've posted every 2 weeks, I may draw, let's call it season 1, to a bit of a close and have a bit of a break. Just because, I mean, most of my interviews are at this sort of time, maybe a little bit later than this. Doing 2.5 hour conversations at this sort of time when you've got a little one is going to be difficult. So I'm going to try and record and do whatever I can to get up to that point and sort of minimise the hangover. And then, depending on how it goes, what I'm thinking about doing is starting or turning over to like a smaller one, so more of like a, rather than an interview hour and a half type thing, more of like a hobby chat, I guess.
Yeah.
A much sort of short form, half an hour, 45 minutes. Whether I do it similar to you, like on Twitch or something like that, and then sort of upload it, but something a bit shorter form. And then when I can get back onto the interviews, there's so many more people that I want to chat with, yourselves included, obviously. Daz, we've already talked about it. So
I don't know what you're on about.
you'll be coming on. You'll be coming on. Yeah, you're trying to dodge out of it.
So this is also that also means, by the way, everyone, that officially Ben is now scraping the bottom of the barrel for guests. Officially, that's how you measure. Like when I get invited on something, it's
bottom of the barrel is when I start to get invited.
So now that's it. So,
the moderator gets invited.
For me, it's always like the whole thing about the podcast is just like getting cool people on, like, and that's for me. There is no bottom of the barrel. It's one of those weird ones. Obviously,
it's a joke. It's a joke.
But like, legitimately, like, there is no bottom to this barrel because there's so many interesting people. But yeah, like,
exactly.
That's I don't want it to stop. Obviously, there might be a small break, but I don't want it to stop. I want to come back to it. So yeah, that will definitely be the future, but there could be a bit of a break.
That makes sense, mate. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's on the up anyway, and it's a fantastic podcast. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
And I say, I think I speak for myself and Gareth that podcast all the best going forward, and I'm sure we'll both support you all the way.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. So that is the end of the Behind the Brush recording. So I guess this is the time we say goodbye to the YouTube people, and we stay and we hang out on hobby with the Twitch people.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like I said at the beginning. If you're watching on YouTube, want to be involved in these hangout and hobbies and join in, then head on over to Twitch, give us a follow and join. If you are watching on YouTube and haven't already, then do consider giving us a cheeky subscription. I'm going to put all the links to all of Ben's stuff in the description for YouTube as well, so make sure you go and check that out. Go and support the hobby love. Check out his podcast, Instagram, everything like that. Sure, he will appreciate it, actually.
Very muchly.
So yeah, we are going to carry on and do some hobby over on Twitch. So for all you YouTube people in YouTube land, stay safe, and until next time, happy hobby all. Bye bye.
Bye.